Welcome back, folks. The gut journey. Are you ready? What is going on in your intestines or your gut is an essential part of your health. In fact, your gut and your immune system are very closely linked. And 70 to 80% of your immune tissue is situated in your digestive tract. Now, folks, can you imagine that you can influence your immune system by the condition of your gut? But how often is it that what we're putting in terms of certain pharmaceutical drugs, it's actually impacting the immune system. It's not building the immune system. To have optimal gut health is to have an immune system that can fight off so many diseases, pathogens, viruses, and so much more. Because our intestines are inside of our body, most people we don't realize that it forms such a protective barrier between our bloodstream and the external world. What's in our gut is actually outside our body. The gut has to deal with these pathogens in everything we digest, and therefore needs to have an effective immune system in place to ward off attacks and prevent further illness. So our gastrointestinal cells, they are known as Peyer's patches and protect this mucous membrane of the small intestine against infection by releasing white blood cells. Boosting the action of the immune cells are certain strains of what is called gut flora. You've heard of that, gut bacteria. And this gut flora prevent pathogens from being absorbed. That is why it's so important to have a colony inside our gut of beneficial bacteria. So many instances people would say, well, that's bad bacteria and that's good bacteria. Now in the gut, you need a balance. You need what is called a homeostasis. And if you don't have that homeostasis, you have dysbiosis, which is the imbalance of the beneficial versus non-beneficial. So it's no use in many instances taking something to kill a bug on the one side, but it kills all the beneficial bugs on the other. So without the right balance of our gut flora, our bodies overall cannot maintain good health. It's so important that I never knew this, as breastfeeding is so important because it colonizes the gut of the newborn baby with beneficial bacteria from the mother, which is associated with decreased risk of allergies and other problems of the immune system. I also came to learn how important natural birth was, that going down the vaginal canal during natural birth equips the child for life with a stronger immune system. It's amazing how the Lord made, even during this pain, the benefits of going through that canal. But having an optimized gut, apart from the serious disorders like autoimmune diseases, a strong immune system reduces the number of just your common cold and flus and other antigenic conditions that plague us on a day-to-day basis. Imagine never having a cold or flu again. Folks, from my side, understanding these things a couple of years ago, I have not been ill in any way. I have had one instance where a flu showed up. It felt like a flu, the joints were a bit sore. But within 2 days, my body was healed. Now, I welcome that because my body needs, the immune system needs to actually kick into place and get going with all of this. So what we learn through the gut journey is when the integrity of the gut is compromised, it can leak. It can lead to a leaky gut. And what is a leaky gut? I mean, and I'm sure some people already have it without even knowing about it. And it means that the body is no longer protecting itself against invaders like undigested food, gluten, and bacteria, which have now passed through the holes in the gut lining into the bloodstream. Now, folks, that becomes serious over time. Initially, your body is fighting these pathogens, and it's inflaming. Wherever it's happening, it's creating this inflammatory response to protect the cells of the body. So a compromised gut health can lead to bleeding, the leaky gut, bleeding through, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, infections, intestinal cancer, intestinal obstruction, irritable bowel, ulcers. That's only a start. These are the conditions linked to a compromised gut. Now, in the initial part of our session, we were looking at the consequences of a compromised gut. What did that mean? We said, here are the risks of a potential gut problem. Now we can see what are the potential consequences. If we know these are the potential consequences and impact of an inappropriate or a compromised gut system, we are able to take the right steps. Have a look at these. Some of these are, you wouldn't know these are coming from the gut. And sure, some of them, there are other factors involved too, but allergies, anxiety, asthma, autism, celiac, cancer, folks. I mean, and there we've got a couple of them. And we're going to go into it a little bit more to see how does the gut play its role in this cancer development. What about cardiovascular disease, heart disease, having a stroke, depression, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis? Okay, so we know about irritable bowel. So many people say, well, I've got IBS. Yeah, but where's it coming from? And where's it progressing to in the next stage? Does it just stay IBS? No, it doesn't. There's a progression. That's why we're saying, if you know what it is, and you know that you're suffering right now, take action. Don't wait, because that action, it's going to become worse. So let's have a look. The gut microbiota is it's this complex organ. So it's this gut flora that creates this immune system in our body that you're able to protect not only the gut, but your whole body. And this unbalanced gut microbiota, as we said, is called a dysbiosis. This is a new word that's come up in the science world over the past few years. And what they're saying is this is involved in the pathogenesis of most gastrointestinal disorders. So going forward, if you know these things, these are some of the big words and words that you would have heard for the first time. The microbiota, this colony inside our gut of beneficial versus non-beneficial, this microbiota assessment and remodulation are key strategies for re-establishing of the correct host bacteria crosstalk, as they say. So once we get this ecology right, so you know if we're going into a vote and there's more of one party versus the other party, who wins? The party with the most voters. But what we want to do is to keep it balanced. That's what we're seeking for in the gut microbiota. So let's take a moment and go down and through what does this digestive system actually look like? Because if we're getting just the background around that, we'll know where do we start. What's very important, and you will pick this up through the whole session, is this digestion and absorption. Now, we have a choice. We can put caloric dense foods versus nutrient deficient foods in our system, or we can do the opposite and put nutrient dense and caloric low. Why do we sit with such obesity problems in the world today. And without a doubt, it's about the foods that one is ingesting. So these are called caloric dense. A hamburger, caloric dense. A sweets or caloric dense, nutrient deficient. Sugar, caloric dense. Certain fats, caloric dense, nutrient deficient. What are we looking for? You're looking for nutrient dense. And why nutrient dense? Because when that food is put into the mouth, already the body starts developing and releasing enzymes to be able to digest this food. Okay, so there's a difference there. We're releasing these enzymes to release the food nutrients versus having the body see this food as a foreign invader and putting up the inflammatory walls. And we're going to look at that soon. We're going to look into where's this inflammation? Why is this inflammation showing up? But it's important to know that what we're putting into the mouth is going to determine what happens in the body. And going through that whole session, you will find it intriguing to be able to know how food impacts what's happening in the gut. Very important, just a tip, is that when you put food, whether it's a smoothie and it's easy to swallow, we always suggest just give it a little bit of a chewing action. So chew your green smoothie, chew your berry smoothie, chew your peanut butter bomb, whichever smoothie, or even your carrot juice, just chew. Why? Because you want to put your own signature and develop and allow those enzymes to start working straight away. As soon as you start chewing, pancreatic juices containing digestive enzymes are also secreted. And this is happening into the small intestine, because there we want to be able to digest these nutrients that we're getting. Now imagine you're taking in food that doesn't have nutrients. Where are you getting your vitamins and your minerals every day? Your body compensates. If you're losing it on the one side, it's going to try and take it from another side. So then as food starts entering in, the villi and microvilli of the small intestine trap and absorb these nutrients. Water-soluble vitamins and minerals are absorbed into the bloodstream, and fat-soluble vitamins into the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system needs to be working optimally to be able to bring these in and distribute them and use them throughout the body. Now, as you will see, as it goes through, no further digestion occurs in the large intestine, except for the digestion of a small amount of fiber by the colon's bacteria population. As we said we said that the microbiota, the gut flora, is vital to be kept in this overall balance. So now when we're sitting in the food is digesting through the large colon, one needs also a balance of this gut flora. When we look further and we see where do a number of the colon cancers appear, they're appearing, when you look into that picture, they're appearing right at the bottom in that sigmoid colon. They're appearing as tumors in the descending colon, in the transverse colon. We're picking up a lot of cancers in the large intestines. Why is that? Because the food we're putting into our bodies is staying in the bodies for an extended amount of time. It is so important that once food goes into the mouth, how quick can it transit through the system, get absorbed, and leave your digestive tract. That is vital. And that is something that we all need to work on a daily basis. We're going to be touching on that more as we go through cleaning in session 2 and restoring in session 3. So right now, what can you do? If you're drinking a juice And I'm talking about your own freshly squeezed juice, not the juice that you buy at a supermarket that has got no nutrient value or very little. Chew it. If you're drinking a smoothie, chew it. Chew it a little bit. It's not about, wow, what will someone else see? Just chew that and put your own signature on it. Because many times, I've tested this. I can drink a smoothie quickly without chewing it, but I can sit with bloating a little while thereafter. If we have a look at our gastrointestinal tract integrity, and we have a look at what actually happens there, we look back and you say, what are the potential causes that bring about this compromised gut system, which is the risk? Okay, so we've eaten, we've experienced all these things in our life that has brought us to this place called the compromised gut system. That's our risk right now. Why do we say compromised gut system is a risk? Because there's a decrease in gastrointestinal integrity. And what is that impact? An impact could be protein, when you're eating it, is not being digested, absorbed, assimilated, utilized. And on the other end, and much waste is rather being produced as a result of metabolizing such. What does that mean to us? Well, the food you're eating is not getting absorbed in your system, and the food is sitting in your body. And it's not fermenting, it's rotting. And when food rots in your system, inflammatory markers are shooting out to be able to protect the system from this rotting food. So what do you want? As we said in the previous slide, we want food when it goes in, we want to measure how long that food takes to get out of our system. Now I can tell you now that I've spent, when I've done 7-day fasts and longer fasts, after 4 or 5 days, and I've only eaten up until that stage only vegetables into the fast, it's still taken me a few days to get rid of everything inside my gut. People think, when we do talks on gut health, people think that the food you eat today is out within 2 days. In some instances, that food is still in your system 2 or 3 weeks later. And it depends on that food that you're eating. The heavy animal product food is sitting in your system longer. I can tell you now, I've tested it, even with myself. I know how long that food sits in my system. What is another impact? There's an increase in the system, in the gastrointestinal system overload. So, what does that mean? As more acid is accumulated, tissues in the system begin to deteriorate. So this acid waste oxidizes, it actually rusts the veins and the arteries, and it destroys the cell walls and organs. This is serious. So this is why we said, let's take a risk view. What is a gastrointestinal tract impact of such when it is compromised? So we look at it and we say, okay, now we have a choice. If we're knowing these things, sure, it might be over our head initially, but we know it's not favorable if we continue this way. So what is the action? It's not difficult. We don't find it difficult. We just ask the question, what do we do to prevent this compromised gastrointestinal tract? What do we do? And that's what we're going to be doing through the remaining sessions of our course. But we're still going through, how do I identify where this has come from, and also how do we know at this point in time, if we do not have any of these issues showing up in ourselves or in our family, or even as a sports person, how do I know that my gastrointestinal tract is not impacting and hampering and hindering my energy output? And I'll tell you what, right now, it is. If you have a gut issue, it's impacting your energy output. Whether you're a sports person, a cyclist, a runner, someone that does a lot of fitness training, whichever it may be. A compromised gut system is going to be impacting you. Folks, stay tuned. We're going to be speaking about the firefighter in the next part of session 1.